Welcome to the Urban Debate 360 on Magic Bricks Now. I'm Faye D'Souza. On 360, we have a power-packed lineup of news that directly affects you in your cities. Let's take a look at what's making headlines today. A day after the Supreme Court order on Unitech, the Gurgaon Deputy Commissioner T.L. Satyaprakash steps in and he assures buyers appropriate action will be taken to ensure that they get their due. This comes just a day after Unitech told the Supreme Court that the company has no money to refund its buyers. Magic Bricks mega focus on the odd and even formula for Mumbai's traffic problems gains steam. We get you exclusive details of how the BMC is working on how to implement odd and even in Mumbai. This is actually happening, ladies and gentlemen, and it plans to roll it out soon. Cash-strapped Maharashtra has to sell state-owned land to raise money to fund infrastructure projects because the government says it's heavily in debt and has no money in its coffers. The plan is under consideration. Remember, this is not long after the legislatures gave themselves a 200% pay hike. They now turn around and say the government is broke. I want to remind our viewers that not long ago on this very show, we talked about how the Maharashtra government MLAs, MLCs had given themselves a 200% salary hike, which unanimously passed through the legislature because it is the MLAs who decide what sort of pay hike the MLAs get. We now have the state government that's turned around and said that the government is broke, that it has to sell its own land to fund infrastructure projects. The government needs about 2 lakh crore rupees for its mega infrastructure project, and it's realized that it cannot levy any more taxes, thankfully. It is currently reeling under a debt. And I'm going to say this slowly so our audience can understand the quantum of the money we're talking about of 3.79 lakh crore rupees. This is what the state owes in debt. This plan comes in the heels of the legislators, like I said, giving themselves a unanimous 200% salary hike only weeks ago. Ruchi Deshpande brings us this report.
2 lakh crore rupees is the amount that the Maharashtra government needs currently to fund 4 of its infrastructure projects. Which are these projects? Well, 80,000 crore rupees, which is the bulk of that amount, is going to be used for completing the ongoing irrigation projects by the government. 40,000 crore rupees each will be used for strengthening the existing highways as well as widening the Mumbai-Nagpur express highway. And lastly, 30,000 crore rupees will be used to reduce the charges of the power transmission to about 8% from an existing 14%. Sources from the finance department of the Maharashtra government tell Magic Bricks Now that they have put together a committee of all the principal secretaries of the finance department, the public works department as well as the forest and the revenue department. These people will come together and will submit records of where they find vacant land that can be used by the state to raise funds for these infrastructure projects. Now, the finance ministry sources further told us that they did not see taxing the people in any way as a feasible option, and this land monetization to raise funds for infrastructure was one of the things that they were considering in order to fund these projects. Right now, the government resolution for the same has been out, is what the Maharashtra government sources tell us, but they are yet in the process of actually making a draft to roll out a phase-wise plan as to what this land monetization actually will be. And while they did not give us a timeline for when this draft would be out, they did tell us that it will be about 3 to 4 months before all the private secretaries of the aforementioned departments get back to us with a vacant land bank to use them for monetizing the state's infrastructure.
Well, this land monetizing scheme that the Maharashtra's government is thinking about just comes days after our mantris gave themselves a 200% pay hike. To give you a quick breakdown of the Maharashtra ministers are earning more currently than the Prime Minister. We asked Maharashtra ministers if they're willing to take a pay cut in order to put some money back into the state. Listen to what they had to say.
If you see that just 2 years back when we took up the reins from the previous government, we had a debt of around approximately 3.28 lakh crores, and presently there is a suggestion by one of the DK Jain committee that such kind of lands are available through which we can auction or mortgage the properties, thereby where we can fulfill all the other requirements for the infrastructure. It may be highway, it may be electricity reductions and all various other infrastructure requirements. If you see the increase of the MLAs or MPs, it is just a meager amount that it has been considered. If you even consider 1 crores per one MLA, it will come around 227 crores. But here we are asking for 2 lakhs crores of rupees, and it will go for the public utilization. So good infrastructure, good roads, good crop cultivation. So as far as reduction in the electricity, so these are the major things that this government, my government, is trying to do. The Honorable CM has conceptualized a separate view. You may find a difference once, presently it may not look feasible, but once this everything comes in place, I think the people of this Maharashtra will appreciate the steps that we have taken.
If you are so much willing to sell your own land and which is not being used properly, then you can go ahead, but it has to be sold out on a proper price. The way Baba Ramdev has been given a huge piece of land which was worth 250 crore rupees was given at the rate of at the total price of 60 crore rupees. It is a sort of a scam. So in the name of land monetization, government must not try to favor its own favorite developers or the business houses. If you want to make some Mumbai Nagpur expressway or highway, and for that purpose if you need 40,000 crore rupees, I don't think it's a big deal. You can raise this kind of fund from various sources. As far as hike of the MLA MLC salary is concerned, I'm not against it, and I don't think this is going to create any huge burden on the state exchequer.
Well, moving on to Delhi and our continued focus on project delays the day after the Supreme Court verdict on Unitech. Now, the Deputy Commissioner of Gurgaon, TL Satyaprakash, has stepped in, and he says action will be taken to ensure that Unitech refunds buyers. I want to remind our viewers that on the 17th of August, the Supreme Court asked the developer Unitech to deposit 15 crore rupees, which is meant for refunds for buyers. Before that, the NCRDC, which is the National Commission, told Unitech to refund buyers, and Unitech turned around and said they had no money left to refund buyers. This is what the Deputy Commissioner has now said.
Yesterday we had a meeting under Additional Chief Secretary Town and Country Planning. So he reviewed the progress in almost 11 projects, and there's an action that is taking place from headquarters. Compared to the situation about 3 to 4 months before, the situation is not that grim. It is improving, and as and when we enable everybody to come together, and also the liquidity condition emerges, I think they should be able to. We should be able to give justice to all the home buyers.
Well, the Supreme Court has ruled in front of 3 home buyers who were stuck in project delays in Unitech's Vista project. But as per reports, currently Unitech has 15 projects that are stalled at various stages of delays. Deepa Rana caught up with buyers of Unitech's other projects. Listen in.
The project delays in the Delhi NCR region continue to hound the home buyers. I have with me the home buyers of Unitech's Exquisite project. Now, yesterday the Supreme Court has given an order that the Unitech has to submit over 15 crores as deposit to various home buyers in the Supreme Court. Is that enough? Is the legal resort that people and the home buyers are taking, is that enough? Are the government and the authorities doing anything to bring any relief to the home buyers?
It's a complete loot which has happened with us. We are struggling to understand what has happened with us. Eventually what I had to do was, after the subvention period expired, the EMI started. In a matter of 6 months, I realized that I won't be able to afford this, and knowing that nothing is happening forward, I had no other option. The only home that we had, which we had built as a couple after marriage, there are dreams attached to it. There are so many memories attached to it. We had to sell it off and, square off the loan to at least be burden free from the monthly, agony of.
We bought an apartment in Exquisite in 2010, and it's 6 years now we're waiting. As an honest taxpayer to the country, I am paying a huge rent. I am paying a huge EMI because, somewhere my conscience does not allow me to default to the banking institution that's given me money to pay the loan. But I mean, the bank, the government, I don't know who's accountable. There is nobody. They just keep having meetings. They just keep giving assurances. It's all a vote gaining game.
We're going to take a very close focus on that Unitech problem tomorrow night at 8 p.m. here on Magic Bricks. Now, if you're facing a problem, get in touch with us. We'll have a panel of lawyers who will tell you what you should be doing next. Moving on to Mumbai. And remember, we've been talking about this for a while. The odd and even plan will be, of course, implemented in Mumbai. We know that it's going to come. The question is when. The BMC is working on a plan on how to implement odd and even in Mumbai. The fines, from what we understand, could be up to 4,000 rupees for violating the plan when it does come in. Word coming in from the BMC, which is in the midst of drafting the rules for the rollout of odd and even in Mumbai, tells us that the fines will be very high and that women will continue to be exempt. So will hearses and ambulances. Magic Bricks now is the first to bring you that rule. Disha Shah has details.
Mumbai civic body, the BMC, is reworking on the odd and even guidelines for Mumbai. In fact, remember, Magic Bricks now was the first one to break this news about how the civic body is planning to implement the odd and even rule in Mumbai, basically to decongest the vehicular traffic and also to keep a check on the rising air pollution. However, what we know from the civic officials so far is that few of the changes will be that now this particular rule will be applicable only 6 days a week and not 7 days a week like how it was proposed before by the civic body, and this will be enforced only from 8 a.m. in the morning to 8 p.m. in the night and not till 10 p.m. which was earlier proposed by the civic body. And civic officials also tell us that they want each and every citizen of Mumbai to abide by this rule. So anybody who violates this particular rule will be penalized. So that particular fine and penalty, they are planning to revise it from 3,000 rupees to 4,000 rupees for anybody who violates this rule. And lastly, civic officials also tell us that other factors, other criteria will remain same. For instance, a car ending with an even license number will have to travel on an even date, and license plates ending with an odd number will have to travel on an odd date on the streets. And in fact, they also tell us that this will be applicable only on the private owned four vehicles and not on the public transport and emergency vehicles like the ambulances, the school buses. And in fact, women are also exempted, which means that women can drive on any particular date and any particular day. Lastly, civic officials also tell us that they are going to send this revised draft to the state government in a week, 10 days time, and then it will be the state government's final call and decision as to when this could be implemented in Mumbai.
Well, moving on to the city of Bangalore, and this is scary information for citizens of Bangalore. Your city could soon run out of drinking water, possibly as early as September. The situation is so dire that in Karnataka, that it's inadequate for potable water for the first time in 40 years. It could be forced to choose between providing drinking water to its citizens in the urban areas and giving its farmers water for irrigation. Another concern is that the government is trying to address the fact that the city of Bangalore alone consumes 1,500 to 2,000 million litres of water per day from the KRS dam. While the government had earlier decided to release water to farmers till the 30th of August, they have now decided to review the situation first. Adding to Bangalore's problems, the Indian Meteorological Department suggests that there will be no rains in the coming months. Well, a topic that we at Magic Bricks now have been visiting regularly is discrimination in housing societies. We've been asking why citizens are denied homes based on their caste, their gender, their food habits or their sexual orientation. Shouldn't an individual be given the freedom to choose where they want to live, provided they have the financial ability to buy or to rent legally? We understand from most of our viewers that individuals right here in the city of Mumbai, in Delhi, in Bangalore, Hyderabad and Chennai are being denied homes for reasons that are just not acceptable. We had that debate today. Listen in.
It's generally wrong not to give anyone, but we should feel like how society stays together. And every individual or a group of society has their own point of view on their religion, caste and everything. So it is really important that when you develop a society, so everybody should gel in the society.
The question we are asking again tonight, should you have the freedom to choose where you live?
I can stay anywhere I want as long as I follow the law. Now, if the Cooperative Society Act says that a particular person who is admitted as a member in the society has to follow certain rules, I have to follow the rules. Otherwise, I'll be expelled. But if I am an adult, if I have the money, I can buy a property anywhere, provided my seller is selling it to me. There is no law on earth that can stop me from buying a property in any region of my choice.
We have seen so many instances where Muslim people were denied place in a society which was constructed by some non-Muslim builder. So why this discrimination on the basis of food? Because the answer that was given or the reason that was given was that if we allow them to stay here, they will cook non-veg food. What harm is there? We go to a restaurant, we eat food, non-veg, veg, every food is available there. So I would tell you that those people who are creating such kind of disturbances or dividing the two communities on the basis of this must be taken proper thing with the police.
In fact, one major point we can make here is that the central government is already taking steps in this direction. Rule 3 of the RERA rules, which are now coming in force, clearly says that no builder or no promoter shall discriminate between buyers on the basis of religion or community. Any person who comes, the deal has to be market based, there can be no discrimination. The only thing which I feel is lacking here is that the central government could have easily made this the law, because under the Constitution, Article 246 and the 7th schedule, the subject of housing is not restricted to center.
From the community that you deal with, how often are people turned away when they want to rent homes? How often are people turned away when they want to buy homes?
When it comes to renting out houses, they kind of get very judgmental in, as to what your sexual orientation is. Now, if I'm gay or straight, it's not necessary that it just means that if you're gay, you're going to have that much amount of sex or whatever, like with your partner, which should not be, of any importance to anybody else, what I'm doing inside my house.
Transgendered people just do not get housing in Bombay. That's why you'll see most of the transgendered people living on the outskirts, say beyond the city limits, or sometimes in slums, semi-paka houses, because in proper societies, they just don't get rental housing. For single women, it's terrible. If there are 2 or 3 women together, who want to say air hostesses usually, they never get housing on rent, because the sort of landlord says, oh, you're going to run a prostitution racket here. This has happened in so many cases.
One is a legal remedy where we definitely need to have fines imposed on housing societies which do something like this. The second is, of course, heightened awareness amongst people. We need to tell people, we need to come together and we need to tell people that we are not going to bear this discrimination. Exactly. And we are going to out what you did right now by asking the caller to speak out the name of the builder on TV who denied him this thing. That's something that we need to do. We need to name and shame people. Yeah. I'm telling you that there are many societies, forget in the name of caste, creed or anything. According to the Animal Welfare Board of India, you can't even discriminate and you can't even deny your house to somebody who has a pet. Even that is not allowed. So let us keep that very clear, and let us make our societies, our understanding society. I would want you, the anchor, to go back and tell your society that you can't discriminate. Even if there is no discrimination over there, it's important that we tell people about the law, about the fact that they cannot discriminate, and we fight and we keep fighting for a law that will penalize people who discriminate basis caste, creed, religion, or even pet ownership.
I am talking in general that there are discriminations going on. These are providing shelter to a particular person in particular society. You are trying to politicize the issue.
If I have the ability to buy the house, I have the right to live anywhere as long as I live legally. Well, of course, that is a topic that we're going to continue to take up on this channel. So if you face discrimination, feel free to get in touch with us. We will personally fight your side. In the meantime, let's take a look at all of the news that's making headlines across the country on civic issues in our big cities. Amita joins us with a wrap on all the civic news.
Let's start with the financial capital of India, Mumbai, also the noisiest city in the world according to World Health Organization. In a move to educate school children, the Times of India, in association with the Awas Foundation, launched No Honking Drive on Tuesday. Now, the foundation, along with TOI, took the initiative to several schools to tap into the fact that school children are the most susceptible to the effects of sound pollution. Expressing support for the no honking drive, Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari has appealed to citizens to not honk unnecessarily. Gadkari has also asked people to not install pressure or multi-toned horns which are against the law. Now, the minister had earlier introduced a bill in the Lok Sabha that ensures motorists who honk unnecessarily are slapped with a fine of 1,000 rupees. Tragic news coming in for citizens of Andhra Pradesh. A fire broke out in an illegal firecracker shop, killing 2 and injuring 4 in Andhra Pradesh's Visakhapatnam. Now, the incident took place at the manufacturing unit at Devarapalli, Kottapalli village. The cause of the blast is yet to be ascertained. Meanwhile, in Chennai, the Chennai Municipal Corporation is under fire for failing to construct a subway near Adambakam railway station. School students in the area are forced to cross the railway track en route to school and risk being run over by trains. Along with residents in the area, students of AJS Nidhi School have now escalated the issue. Officials now say that a foot-over bridge has been planned in the area instead.
We're taking a look at news that's coming in across the country. From what we understand, PV Sindhu has won the semi-finals, guaranteeing her a medal in the Olympics. She has beaten her Japanese counterpart in straight sets to reach the women's singles finals. She will face Carolina Merrill of Spain in the Olympic finals of badminton. That's excellent news coming in for India, where we've only won 1 medal so far, which was a bronze in wrestling. It seems like the daughters of India are going to make us proud, this time at the Olympics. Sindhu through to the Olympic finals of badminton there in Rio. Well, let's take a look at what else is making headlines across the country at this point. The poll bugle in UP has been sounded off as the BSP Supremo, Dalit leader Mayawati, is all set to enter the war zone with a powerful campaign. On the 21st of August, the ruling party caught in a family feud, Mayawati is preparing to make her comeback. The BSP chief has divided UP into 5 electoral zones and has already appointed lieutenants to champion pre-poll rallies. Remember, UP is the most political and the largest state. It goes into polls which will have tremendous implication on national politics. Well, 3 people, including a policeman, was washed away with a strong current at the Chakolia area of Uttarakhand. All 3 have been rescued and admitted in hospital as we see floods across the country. More of north of India suffers because of heavy rains. A 5-story building collapsed in the Hatkoti area of Shimla following heavy rains in the region. 2 people were killed in the mishap and 5 others rescued from the debris. And heavy rains caused flash floods in Madhya Pradesh. In Chitrakoot, famous tourist spot submerges completely underwater. Locals have been forced to move to a higher altitude. And a depressing piece of news to end the show on. Machli, the world's oldest tiger, was 19 years old, passed away in the Ranthambore National Park. At 19 years old, Machli was one of the most revered, sought-after tigers in the world, with thousands of tourists flocking to Rajasthan to catch a glimpse of her every year. Machli had slowed down in recent years, and the loss of her canines and the territory led to erratic eating and ultimately her death. Called Machli because of the fish-like marking on her face, the tiger has given birth to 11 pups, playing a vital role to increase the numbers of tigers in India. From 2004, when the park had only 15 tigers, the number went up to 50 in 10 years. 60% of the tigers could trace their lineage back to Machli. So popular was Machli that she even had her own Facebook page. Well, that's a wrap of this edition of Urban Debate 360. Thank you for watching.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/magicbricksnow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at magicbricksnow. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/magicbricksnow.